Hey, Donnie Wahlberg, thank you so much for talking to us here in Cincinnati, Ohio today. Very excited to talk to you about Blue Bloods, the #1 Friday night program. Congratulations on that. It's an awesome show. #1. Love it.
Thank you.
You, of course, play Detective Danny Reagan, and this week's episode, things are going to get a little scary for you and your family, your TV family, as they get a little too close to your work. Can you talk a little bit about what we're going to see this Friday that applies to your storyline?
Well, in the show, Danny's family happens upon an accident. It's actually someone's being chased by a murderer, and they come across an accident involving the guy being chased. But what ends up happening is the show takes a twist to where Danny ultimately has to teach his son about guns in the house. And to explain, when I read the script, you know, as Donnie Wahlberg reading a script, I never had guns in my house growing up. My family, my dad didn't have guns, and so to me it's a foreign concept to have a scene where a grown man is handing a 10-year-old boy a gun and letting him hold it in a house. And it was very sort of jarring to read it, but, you know, in speaking to a lot of the New York police officers that I work with, I got to really understand, and speaking to Tom Selleck, who's been a spokesman for the NRA, I got to understand if you're going to have a gun in the house, how important it is that you do teach children about it, because, you know, if you don't, kids are curious, and they're going to snoop around, they're going to explore, and they're going to want to say, hey, look at Dad's gun, and you know, and that's when tragedies happen. And ironically, while we were shooting this episode, on the very day that we shot this scene, Jen, our technical advisor is a retired New York City detective. He had to leave. I went to talk to him about a scene we were shooting, and he said, I have to go home. My son just found my gun box in the house. And him and his wife hadn't decided when would be the right time for him to teach his son about the gun in the house. And it was just very profound and very heavy to play, and you know, very eye-opening for me, because as I said, when I read it, it didn't make sense to me personally, because I'm not a gun person. But when, you know, having played the scene, I've come to sort of have a whole new profound respect for or understanding of how important it is to make sure children know about gun safety if you do happen to have one in the home.
Yeah, and also, did playing the scene give you sort of a new respect or a new look at what the lives of police officers with children are like, having to kind of think about not only having a gun in the home, but also thinking about what it's like to be a police officer on the street and maybe having your family with you when you run into a suspect?
Yeah. Jen, I learn every day a new level of respect for the New York City police officers and for police officers everywhere in general. I mean, it's just the responsibility that they have. You know, it's easy for us a lot of times to sit at home and see a videotape of a cop hitting somebody or you know, whatever, and just condemn policemen and women everywhere. But, you know, what they do and the responsibilities they have, it's very intense. And I learn different things every day on this job about what police officers go through with families and without. It's an incredible responsibility to uphold the law and to do it the right way. You know, there are individuals who cross the line and go too far sometimes, but for the most part, you know, police officers, especially New York City police officers, they're just amazing people who do an amazing job and risk their lives every day.
Well, I think, you know, one of the things that people love about this show is the strong family aspect to it, and sitting down at that Sunday night family dinner. You know, we're always doing that with you on Friday nights. So I think maybe, do you think this would be a good opportunity for folks who have children and maybe have guns in the home to sit down and watch the show together and open a dialogue about that?
Absolutely. I think everyone should be watching Blue Bloods anyway, because it's just the best show on TV. But yeah, I think it certainly created a dialogue for us on set. You know, I suddenly was talking to Tom Selleck about things that we don't talk about. You know, he was telling me what his life as a child was like with his dad, and it really opened up a lot of conversation for a lot of people. And I'm sure it's going to be hard for some people to watch the scene, and people may disagree, but we're portraying police officers, and I'm portraying one who has a gun in the home, and I think he did the right thing in this episode.
Now, I only have a little bit of time with you left, so I've got to ask, and I hope you don't mind me asking. I hear that there's a big rivalry going on the set between you and the rest of the cast, from what I understand. You are the Patriots fan. They all are against you as Giants fans. How are you dealing with that, and do you have a prediction for the Super Bowl?
we have a crew of 150 New Yorkers, and it's 150 versus me. And they all want the Giants to win. They all are sure the Giants are going to win. But, you know, everyone is saying that the Patriots have only beaten one team with a winning record this year. I mean, no teams with a winning record. Well, the Giants have only beaten one. And Bill Belichick saves all his best stuff for last.
Yes.
The Patriots are going to win, I'd say, by 14 points.
All right. Well, I'm getting my Super Bowl squares out.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll catch the Super Bowl this weekend. But before that, we will also catch Blue Bloods, and you can see it right here on Local 12 on Friday night. Donnie Wahlberg, always a good pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on the success, continued success of the show.
And Ocho Cinco from Cincinnati Bengals, he's going to catch a touchdown in the Super Bowl. That's my other prediction.
All right. You heard it right here. Donnie Wahlberg predicting the Super Bowl wins. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks.